Is the United States no longer a superpower? What's going on? Well, the negotiations about Ukraine have been going on for a while. To give you a perspective on what might lead to in the next few weeks to come, here is like a preview of what is happening and how the United States finds itself on a weaker spot today than perhaps even 2 years ago when it was actually instigating Ukraine to continue the war. To know all about this, I have created a small slide deck, and thanks to Kannan Ramasamy for the basic research, and we have added more things to it. Please take a look at it, and also please share it among your family and friends. Here we go. Is US no longer a sole superpower? Why do we say that? Well, look at what is happening now. See, you can say that some of the people in the current administration are part of deep state, and you can say no, 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 no. There is nobody from the Trump administration that's in deep state. It's all Democrats. The truth is difficult to find out where exactly it is. There could be both people from both parties, that is, Democrats and Republicans, who could be part of deep state. What exactly is deep state? Deep state is an entity that is used to having things the way they are, and they want to continue status quo. Think of it that way. That's the easier way to understand it. These are not demons. They just have a certain process from which they are benefiting, and they would like that to continue. That's the easiest way to understand it. So now what is going on is there appears to be some pragmatism with Trump and realizing that the United States can only act so much as a superpower, that it has limits to how far it can take this thing. So when did the discussions between the Trump administration and Putin begin? Right after Trump got elected, there were intermediaries who met in Switzerland, and they started looking at what is the groundwork. So these are the things that we're going to talk about. The others don't matter. So there'll be like 10 issues, 20 issues, 100 issues. It doesn't matter. They'll come up with a small agenda that they'll say, okay, these are the most critical things that we would like to talk about. And now they start whittling them down. This is important for us. This is not important for us. Have it your way. No, this is a no. This is a red line. No, this is a this is negotiable. You get the idea, right? Some really hard ones, some negotiable, some soft ones. Something like that is what usually it plays out. So looks like there was some sort of an agreement at that point itself, because Russia quietly withdrew its assets from Syria, and it has since moved them to the Sahel region as well as to Libya. Now, this is something that Putin did because he was very sure that Trump would not go back on his word, because the thing is still not signed as far as Ukraine is concerned, which is a big one. So what exactly is Putin thinking that made him feel that Trump would stand by his word? And looks like so far both sides are happy. They are making progress. They're talking. We still don't know where it's going to stop. What we have now is that the United States is probably going to get access to some of the rich minerals that are there in Ukraine. See, these are all best guesses, if you will. They've done some scoping equipment, and they think that the way the structure is, that they may be able to get so much dollars worth of minerals. And they in America needs that, because many of those are rare earths, which China has forbidden from selling to America. Of course, America can play the same game that China plays, buy it through an intermediary country. Two can play the game, doesn't matter. So these are all things that, in one way or the other, things settle out somewhere. But I think America wants a clear-cut access to the minerals in Ukraine. Also, because America is using that, America would probably give some sort of a security shelter to Ukraine so that Russia doesn't try to overrun it. That's one part. Trump really wants to lower the investment of United States into NATO, because he feels that all the investment, all the research and development for getting new arms and ammunition to keep in step with Russia, all that stuff is being done by US and US alone, and the European countries are not participating in it. He wants 5% of their GDP, but I think he'll settle at 2 or 3%, maybe 3%. And that should be manageable for the European countries. After all, they don't have to do anything beyond what they have done. They just have to find a way to get this money from their budget. That's one side. That is the Trump side. On the other side, I think Trump is trying to tell Putin to scale back his dependence on China and also basically try and cut the umbilical cord that China seems to have with Russia. Essentially, the idea is to isolate China. And what China has done in the United States, I've been telling you, all that is coming out is a scratch. There's a lot more that is going on. For example, 40,000, 50,000 people who have been seriously trained for various things are now illegally in United States. The interesting thing, did you notice that nobody's talking about how many have been sent back to China? What is the play there? I mean, we have identified that it's an upwards of 200,000, but why have we not heard any reports of plane loads of illegal Chinese flying back? What is it that is so secretive about it? I don't know. I'm hoping to find the answer in a few days. So Russia needs to cut itself off from China. It needs to do a few other things. For example, allow Ukraine to be what it is. And I think US will give the guarantee that Ukraine will not be part of NATO and shall remain neutral. But if Ukraine were to remain neutral, it needs some security guarantees. And I don't know what shape and form those are going to be there. Tomorrow, Putin may go and somebody else may come, and that guy might also make a move for Ukraine. So how does one stop that? So that's one. As far as Iran is concerned, Trump favors Israel to essentially deal and wrestle with Iran, whereas Putin is advocating for a non-violent diplomatic transformation in Iran, seeking stability without military intervention. It all depends upon how much the Iranian people hate the Ayatollah regime. I don't have any way to tell you this. I know that more than 50% of the Iranians would like to go back to Zoroastrianism, away from this Islam, and that there is a small but very powerful crowd, a cartel, if you will, a junta, if you will, that is around the mullah, ayatollahs, and they are the ones who are also in IRGC, which is a very repressive group. And looks like they are the ones who are controlling the narrative, they are controlling the diplomacy, they are controlling many things. Because there is a separate thing, not the IRGC, but a separate thing called the Iranian army. Nobody seems to be talking about that. So there are lots of holes here and there about how Iran is actually made up now, how it's managing, what are the outputs, how hard is it for the people for this because of the sanctions. All these things are questions that nobody wants to seem to want to know what exactly is going on. But we hope to get some information. We'll give you some updates on that also. So in exchange for giving some land to Putin, what does Ukraine get? This is the big question mark. This is where even Zelenskyy is making a lot of noise, saying that 500 billion is robbing and pillaging and plundering the people of Ukraine. He's making a lot of noise because I think Trump has also hinted that Zelenskyy will not be the president once this deal comes. So it will be a part of the deal that he'll be stepping down and somebody else will be in, or they'll go for election, something like that, under supervision of UN. You get the idea, right? So there is something, there is an imminent exit for Zelenskyy being planned, and I think he doesn't like it. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. Now, on top of all these things, Russia and US may do some sort of a oil and gas agreement whereby some of the stuff that Russia produces will go through Texas companies, basically to try and ensure. Remember, I told you, right? Every trans-country deal in crude or gas should be recorded in Houston. That's how US wants it, because that is the name of petrodollar. So they may want to enforce that again with Russia saying, okay, I will do it. So if that happens, then essentially both sides gain. And the US also establishes that we are the petrodollar, we are the reference. So that reference currency of the world will again be back with US in a stronger way. Because if two superpowers agree on something like that, that would be a big deal, I think. So we'll see how that plays out. Will military expenditure be reduced? Like, for example, they always have these nuclear deterrent talks. Would that be the next phase? That'll be good for the world. If the number of nuclear warheads that Russia has and the United States have, they proportionately lower them, it makes the world a safer place. And we'll have to see how this whole idea of dealing with Russia meshes with Trump's America First policy. But of the top three, and I'm not adding India, although India will be coming into this and become top four, of the top three, two, if they come together, China completely stands isolated. So from all these things, China is the net loser. And what is China going to do? No one knows. And this is like a wounded tiger. It might lash out, might do something very, very crazy, like for example make a move on Taiwan. I don't know. The world also is kind of, is what's going to happen, what's China going to do, how is it going to lash out. It could also try to make a move on India, try to invade through Arunachal Pradesh, or try to break off the chicken's neck. All these things are possibilities, probabilities. India just did a huge exercise near chicken's neck to try and give the message to China, we are ready for you in case you have any plans. So all these things weigh in, right? I mean, that was a message not only for China but also for Bangladesh. Don't think of anything crazy there. So by doing this rapprochement between Russia and United States, what will happen is it could lead to a win-win situation. If Russia combines with US, then the OPEC loses significance. They will not be able to control the price of oil as much as they used to. And that might be a big win-win situation for the world. Because once petrol prices come down, then inflation starts coming down, and maybe there is a situation like, for example, both Trump and Putin on horsebacks riding off into the sunset. Who knows? This is the best case scenario that we are looking for. I mean, stranger things have happened in life, I guess. So we'll wait and see how this plays out. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For additional information, we have some links that you can look at in the reference section. Namaskar.